Here is a true story from Reddit. The link to the stories in the description below. Enjoy. First thing I'm gonna say is this. This is totally real, and I was freaked out for days. I don't think I can make some of this shit up. Everyone I tell it to says it's terrifying, and after reading through some of the stories on this sub, I think it would be a good fit. It was February of 2014. This thing I was doing at work kind of came to a head all at once. I was basically going to have to spend the entire weekend writing a press release that was needed the following Monday by 10 a.m. Now, my grandparents owned some property way out in the boonies of East Texas. I grew up going out there all the time for family get-togethers and whatnot. Now, since it was only a 45-minute drive away from where I lived, I would go out there with friends to camp, to party, whatever. Well, I knew I was going to be riding all weekend. I thought, why not spend it in the great outdoors instead of holed up in my apartment in Houston? I had never stayed out there by myself, but had always been keen on the idea and thought this would be an excellent time to do it. I called my granddad asking if it would be okay for me to use the place for the weekend. He said of course. He did seem a little reluctant about me doing it alone, but I was a 24-year-old guy who had grown up hiking and felt totally competent to handle anything that might happen. Honestly, I was a little insulted when he seemed to think me going out there by myself was not the best idea. He made sure I knew how to turn on the electricity and water, which of course I did. We use a well for water and have a big switch that turns on and off the electricity out there. I had only done it a million or so times when I brought friends along. He asked if I had a key, which again, I did. Finally, he said, "You know where I keep the Henry, right?" My granddad is kind of a cowboy and keeps a big 30-30 Henry repeater out there, mainly for shooting whitetail, but you never know. "Yeah," I said. Admittedly, for the first time, I was a little nervous since, to my knowledge, he was the only one who had ever stayed out there by himself, and he had never really talked to me about his guns. I left work at 4:30. I had already packed and headed straight there. Due to the congested traffic, I made it out there by 6:45. Still light, but it was getting dark. I grabbed my duffel bag from the trunk and went inside. The house is more like a small resort than a ranch house. It's really nice, which is why I enjoy taking people out there so much. It has 12 bedrooms, and I always choose the upstairs bedroom. Sort of a master bedroom, if you could call it that. I unpacked, sat on the bed, and opened my laptop to look at what I had to write, and immediately closed it. I thought, I'll work on that tomorrow. I want to go take a walk. There's a trail that circles the perimeter of the property, and it's about 3.5 miles long. It was getting dark out, and the thought briefly crossed my mind to bring my granddad's gun, but I decided on a sturdy 5-foot wooden dowel instead. I could have a walking stick and it wouldn't accidentally shoot my foot off if I slipped in the dark. I put on a hoodie, grabbed a flashlight, and started off. It was a clear, moonless night, and the swath of the Milky Way across the sky was impressive, but it was still really dark outside. I decided not to use the flashlight and allowed my eyes to naturally adjust to the darkness. After 10 or so minutes, I could see reasonably well. It was nice out. Chilly, but nice. After about 1.5 miles, I decided to take a shortcut through the woods and head back. I know the land so well that I could easily get back to the house from any point on the property. The woods and brush were pretty dense though, and I was forced to turn on the flashlight. I come upon a thick wall of twigs and vines, and I slowly push my way through it with my stick. After passing through and getting a couple scratches, I see something of a lump in the woods, partially obscured by the underbrush. It looks like someone left a pile of clothes. I keep the light trained on it for a second or two, trying to see what it is. Suddenly, it jumps up really fast and sprints away further into the forest. My heart is in my throat and my stomach does a somersault. I feel the pins and needles of an adrenaline surge all over. With all the force I can muster, I try to shout, "Who is that?" but have no idea if anything actually came out. Immediately, I regret not having that rifle. I even left my cell phone on the bed. The worst part is, whoever that guy was, took off in the direction of the house. I can't even remember if I locked the damn door. The initial shock began to wear off and real fear began to creep in, and suddenly I was feeling very cold. Never before have I felt so isolated and so goddamn stupid. I should have never come out here by myself. If that guy shoots me or something, nobody will even miss me until Monday. Okay, get a hold of yourself. You need to get to your phone. I walk a mile through the woods, absolutely terrified. The woods end about 150 yards from the front patio, and I basically make a mad dash to it. Now, for any of you who have been in a situation like this, know that running doesn't help. You feel that gut-wrenching panic getting a foothold, and constantly think something is right on your heels. When I get inside to the front door in this semi-sane state, I'm in for another shock. The door is cracked open, and I can't remember if I left it open or not. I have to go inside. I push the door open, holding the dowel sort of like a baseball bat, and immediately hear shrieking coming from the living room. I don't think I've ever been as close to blind terror as I was at that moment. I was unable to speak. A strangled escaped my throat, but I was unaware of it. I sprint up the stairs and into the room where my stuff is. At every turn, I'm expecting to see some horrific rotting corpse shrieking at me. I don't know why, but at that moment, that is exactly what I thought I would see. I slam the door behind me and hear the scream again from directly below me this time. I run into the bathroom and dial 911, locking the door and hiding in the shower. In hindsight, this seemed like a really bitchy thing to do, but every ounce of bravado I had was long since drained. I tried to describe what was happening on the phone, but I'm not sure how much sense it made. There is a little town about 9 miles away from the property, and that's where the nearest police station is. It took them 20 minutes to arrive, during which I heard the scream one more time. It was lower pitched now and sounded strangled. Then came the freaking godsend of flashing red and blue lights through the window. I was still in the shower when I heard a man shout, "Police! Anyone here? Come out!" I got up and opened the bathroom door and hear a voice downstairs. "Christ! Evans, call an ambulance!" I open the bedroom door and a cop down the hall has a gun trained on me, yelling, "Freeze!" I try to explain that this is my family's place and that I'm the caller, but they still put me in cuffs. I soon see why. In the living room is the man I saw in the woods, on his back staring blankly upward, one arm outstretched at the ceiling and the other bent, but still reaching upward. His head was lying in a pool of blood. We eventually get it cleared up who is who, and that I didn't crack the guy over the head. Later I found out this guy was a paranoid schizophrenic, probably homeless, and wandered onto our property. We still didn't know why he was bleeding. Blunt force trauma of some sort, maybe from a fall. So insane, dude. You basically gave me like 3 heart attacks. So let's not meet. And I'm pretty sure if it was my granddad instead of me out there, you would have gotten shot. I did, however, get the press release done by Monday. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time.